Right now, something incredible is happening. You are reading these words, not just seeing them or processing them, but experiencing them. You can hear the voice inside your head. You can remember yesterday. You can imagine tomorrow. You can feel happiness, sadness, curiosity, and fear. Somewhere behind your eyes, there is a you observing everything. And perhaps the strangest thing about this is that nobody really knows why. Think about it. Your brain is made of ordinary matter, nothing magical, nothing special, just atoms. The same atoms that make up rocks, oceans, and distant stars. Yet somehow arranged in the right way, those atoms became aware. They began asking questions, and one of the questions they asked was perhaps the biggest of them all. Why am I conscious? Science has become remarkably good at explaining things. We know why planets orbit stars. We know how evolution shaped life. We know that everything around us is made of tiny particles. We've walked on the moon, split the atom, and built machines capable of incredible things. But despite all of that knowledge, we still cannot answer one simple question. Why does being alive feel like something? Because there is a difference between processing information and experiencing it. A camera detects light. A microphone detects sound. A computer performs billions of calculations every second. Yet none of these things seem to experience the world. Your laptop doesn't enjoy music. Your phone doesn't feel lonely. A calculator doesn't wonder about its purpose in life. But you do. And nobody knows why. Perhaps consciousness is simply what happens when matter becomes sufficiently complex. After all, your brain contains around 86 billion neurons constantly communicating with one another. Maybe awareness emerges from that complexity, just as life emerged from chemistry. But even if that is true, another question immediately appears. Why should complexity produce experience? Why should electrical signals create the color red? Why should a collection of cells experience love, pain, nostalgia, or heartbreak? Why should anything feel like anything at all? No equation has answered this. No experiment has solved it. Some scientists call it the hardest problem in science, and perhaps they're right, because you could explain every molecule and every neuron in the brain and still never explain why there is someone inside experiencing it all. Maybe consciousness is simply an evolutionary advantage. Perhaps being aware helped our ancestors survive. It allowed them to plan ahead, remember the past, and avoid danger. But that explanation creates another mystery. Why would survival require experience in the first place? Could evolution have created biological machines that behave exactly like humans, but experience absolutely nothing? Creatures that smile, laugh, cry, and fall in love without anyone actually being there behind the scenes? Nobody knows. Some scientists compare consciousness to a theater. Countless processes are happening in your brain every second without your awareness. Your heart beats, your lungs breathe, your eyes gather information, but only certain thoughts and sensations step into the spotlight and become part of your experience. In a way, consciousness might simply be the stage upon which reality is presented to you, but others have proposed something far stranger. Perhaps consciousness isn't something the brain creates. Perhaps it is something fundamental. Just as mass gives rise to gravity and electric charges give rise to electricity, perhaps consciousness is woven into the fabric of reality itself. Maybe it has always existed in some form, not necessarily as thoughts or emotions, but as something deeper, something we still don't understand. It sounds bizarre, but then again, so does quantum mechanics. So does the idea that space and time are connected. So does the fact that particles can behave like waves. The universe has never promised to make sense, and consciousness may be no exception. What's even stranger is that the universe spent billions of years in silence. Stars formed and exploded. Galaxies collided, planets emerged, and then somehow on one tiny world orbiting an ordinary star, collections of atoms began to wake up. They learned to walk, to speak, to love, to suffer, to dream, and eventually they became capable of asking why they existed in the first place. Maybe that is the greatest mystery of all, because when you stare into the universe and wonder about its secrets, something extraordinary is happening. The universe is wondering about itself, through you. Perhaps consciousness is nothing more than chemistry. Perhaps one day science will explain it completely. Or perhaps the answer is far deeper than we can currently imagine. But until then, every thought you've ever had, every memory you've made, every person you've loved, every dream you've dreamed, and every question you've ever asked exists inside one of the greatest mysteries known to humanity. And the strangest part? You are that mystery.